This episode is brought to you by the Kirtland Partnership Committee, supporting the Kirtland National Security Complex since 1995. With 109 mission sets across 52,000 acres, Kirtland Air Force Base sits at the heart of innovation, national defense, and global security. KPC is proud to champion military value, economic growth, and quality of life for service members and their families. Learn more at kpcabq.org. KPC, mission-focused, community-driven.
From the Albuquerque Journal, this is the leading news. I'm Gino Gutierrez. It's Friday, August 1st. Here's what we're covering on today's episode. Western New Mexico University's new Board of Regents on Thursday voided a controversial $1.9 million separation agreement made with former President Joseph Shepard, declaring the deal invalid due to violations of New Mexico's Open Meetings Act. The previous board approved the agreement last December, granting Shepard the severance, plus a $200,000 per year faculty position and an 8-month sabbatical. However, Attorney General Raul Torres challenged the contract in court, calling it unlawful and alleging it was negotiated without proper public notice. A hearing in the ongoing litigation is scheduled for October. Shepard resigned in January following a state audit that revealed questionable spending on luxury travel and residence furnishings during his tenure. His actions also triggered probes by state lawmakers, the Higher Education Department, and the State Ethics Commission, which has filed a separate lawsuit related to a home construction project. At Thursday's meeting held at Western New Mexico University's campus, Regent John Wortham argued the original approval was invalid due to the lack of proper public notice, a view that was unanimously supported by the board. The Regents formally rescinded the original agreement and voted unanimously to reject it altogether. In response, Shepard accused the board of continuing a politically motivated, quote, smear campaign and trying to bypass the courts where he believes the facts will support him. The State Department of Justice welcomed the board's decision, stating it would have significant implications in their case against Shepard. A search for a new university president is currently underway, with interim president Chris Maples officially stepping into the role on Friday. U.S. Representative Gabe Vasquez visited the Otero County Processing Center, an ICE detention facility in southern New Mexico near the Texas border on Wednesday, but said his access was limited and was not allowed to speak with detainees or bring electronic devices. The facility is one of 3 privately run ICE centers in the state and is operated by Management and Training Corporation, or MTC. Vasquez noted that this was a new policy and sharply contrasts with past visits to other facilities where lawmakers were allowed more access. He said his request was made a week in advance, but federal laws allow unannounced congressional oversight visits. The visit came on the same day that 13 Democratic House members filed a lawsuit against ICE and the Department of Homeland Security for restricting facility access. They argue that federal statute permits them to conduct such visits and evaluate policy and legislation. The Department of Homeland Security recently tightened inspection rules, citing security concerns and increased disturbances at ICE facilities. The department insists that requiring advance notice protects the president's constitutional authority to oversee executive departments and minimize disruptions. A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson cited the lawsuit as a political stunt. Vasquez, who is not a plaintiff in the suit, said the new department policy appears to override federal law, undermining Congress's oversight role. He described the conditions at the Otero facility as overcrowded, running at or above its 1,089 person capacity, with most detainees having no criminal charges or convictions. He also reported malfunctioning toilets and phones, and detainees lacking access to legal and advocacy services. In response to these issues, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham announced plans to include legislation regulating private immigration detention centers in an upcoming possible special legislative session that is expected in August or September. Former U.S. Representative Yvette Herrold will not run for New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District seat in 2026, as she has been appointed to a post in the Trump administration and is awaiting confirmation for a high-level role at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Herrold, a Republican who represented the district for 1 term after winning in 2020, lost her seat to Democrat Gabe Vasquez in 2022 and again in 2024, with Vasquez winning by a wider margin this time. Herrold was nominated in June to serve as Assistant Secretary for Congressional Relations at the USDA, a position that would make her a key liaison between the department and Congress. If approved, she'll replace Adeline Wojnarowski, who stepped down earlier this year. The Senate Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry, which includes Senator Ben Ray Lujan, a Democrat from New Mexico, will review her nomination. Herrold has pledged to transfer ownership of her ice and water vending machine company to family if confirmed. The USDA, now led by Brooke Rollins under the Trump Trump administration is pursuing major policy changes, including a plan to repeal roadless area protections on Forest Service lands and relocate agency employees from Washington, D.C. to 5 regional cities. Harold's decision not to run in 2026 leaves a CD2 race open for other GOP contenders. So far, the only Republican candidate to officially file is Eddie Aragon, a radio host and former Albuquerque mayoral candidate. Vasquez, who currently holds the seat, has announced he will seek re-election. The district, which now includes southern New Mexico and Albuquerque's South Valley, has been one of the most competitive in the country, but redistricting in 2022 made it more favorable to Democrats. A former Deming police officer pleaded guilty on Thursday in federal court in Las Cruces to receiving child pornography in a case stemming from alleged sexual abuse of a teenage girl. Jesus Lopez Jr., 35, was arrested last December on a raft of charges, alleging that over a period of 8 months while he was a police officer, he had engaged in an abusive relationship with a girl beginning when she was just 16 years old, according to court filings. Based on statements from the victim and her mother, prosecutors alleged that Lopez had used alcohol and threats of violence to coerce her into sex and engaged in emotional and physical abuse on multiple occasions. The federal charges arose from evidence that Lopez recorded himself engaging in sex with the child on several occasions, receiving more than 10 photos and videos from her mobile phone. At a future sentencing hearing, Lopez faces the prospect of 5 to 15 years in prison, a minimum of 5 years of supervised release, and registration as a sexual offender. In state district court, Lopez initially faced 15 charges, including distribution of media depicting sexual exploitation of a child, plus numerous counts of aggravated assault, battery, child abuse, false imprisonment, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and interfering with communications. Court records indicate prosecutors in New Mexico's 6th Judicial District dropped their case because of the federal prosecution. As stated in a press release, the federal case was investigated by Homeland Security Investigations with New Mexico State Police and U.S. Attorney Ryan Ellison. The case was also associated with the U.S. Department of Justice's Project Safe Childhood, which is a nationwide program combating child sexual exploitation and abuse. And the Jicarilla Pueblo unveiled a new all-wheel park on July 19th, fulfilling Lieutenant Governor Craig Quantrello's childhood dream of building a space for youth to soar, literally. Inspired by makeshift jumps he and his friends built in the 1970s, the park includes a jump park, pump track, and skate bowl, and launched with public competitions that awarded $8,000 in prizes. Born from pandemic-era restrictions and the aftermath of the 2022 Calf Canyon Hermit's Peak fire, the project aims to give older tribal youth meaningful recreation. Funded by a $500,000 Trail Plus grant and $200,000 in tribal funds, it was constructed by local builders Rocket Ramps and designed with a medium to extra-large features to challenge riders and draw regional attention. Quancello, who is still an avid biker, hopes the park inspires Jicarilla's youth to aim high, maybe even for the X Games, just as he once did. The leading news is powered by the journalism of the Albuquerque Journal. If you enjoy hearing all of the stories we share with you here daily, please consider becoming a digital subscriber to the Journal by utilizing the discount code in our show notes. Every subscription helps support local journalism and allows us to provide you with the news that matters to you. Now taking a look at Albuquerque's weather forecast, there is a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms today after 3 p.m., mostly sunny with a high near 92. As for this evening, a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms does exist before midnight, partly cloudy with a low around 67. To keep up with all the latest news from the Albuquerque Journal, you can visit our website at abqjournal.com. That's the leading news. I'm Gino Gutierrez. We'll be back on Monday.